The Lieutenant Governor of California, Eleni Kounalakis, dropped her gubernatorial bid yesterday. Um, Her announcement didn't include an endorsement. It was after lackluster fundraising numbers and polls that showed her trailing other candidates, right, falling behind them, and she's instead going to run for state treasurer. It said here that she raised just 100,000 during the first 6 months of this year, which was behind Katie Porter's 3 million from just the last 3 months, or from half of that period. Um, I really find this so interesting because she was one of the first people to announce she was going to run 2 years ago, and to run for one office for 2 years, right, and to just be like, you know what, I'm not getting anywhere with fundraising or polling, so I'm bowing out. I don't know. It's amazing how they can spend so much time doing something and then just pull out, preemptively. She mentioned the possibility. This is back before we found out Harris wasn't going to run, but she had said she would suspend her campaign in the event that Harris ran for governor. And when Harris decided not to, it looked like there was, I'm not going to say a path for her because there's still a lot of people in this race, right, with Katie Porter, for example. But it appeared that she was going to stay in because now the one person who she would definitively get out of the race uh, if they entered it had not entered. So it seemed, there was more pathway for her there. But this is really, what's the way of putting it? I compare lieutenant governors to the vice president, right? So like most vice presidents want to be president themselves. That's why they take the job. That's why they run for president after the incumbent's tenure is, their term limited out or they're not wanting to run again. And with Kounalakis, you could tell she really wanted to replace Newsom. But the problem with her as a candidate is that one, she's not exciting. Two, she stands for nothing. So there's just no path for her to the governor's mansion. I go on her website. This is not recently, so maybe she changed it. But I went on her website last year, and it was talking about the first woman governor of California. It's like, do you really think in a state where all these people are homeless? If they're not, they're barely able to make ends meet in terms of the high cost of gas and food. Do you really believe that any of them are like, well, I can't wait to vote for someone who doesn't address these things and be excited at the prospect of them being governor simply because they have uterus? I mean, like, what? Who's thrilled by that? Like if I were running for governor, and I never would, simply because the state is so large and you would need millions of dollars to even be able to feasibly get the 3 to 4 million votes needed to win. But if I were to run for governor, I would try to talk about the actual issues that specifically affect the state, right? Things like the hundreds of thousands of homeless people, um, the housing costs that are so tremendous that people are in many cases willing to just sleep in their vehicles. I mean, it's insane that they really think they can run in a state that's in such a dire state and do the identity politics thing. Oh, I'm a woman. I'll be your first female governor. It's like, well, if the first female governor is more of the same of Newsom, I don't care. Like it's not a no. We're not going to get excited for you. And people don't get excited. They're not gonna vote, let alone donate. Who the hell wants to donate to somebody? Hey, I have no solutions, no actual platform, but vote for me because we'll be making history by giving the state its first woman governor. Like I like Katie Porter. I think she is the most preferable out of any of the different candidates. Her being a woman is, just it's whatever. It doesn't matter. It is irrelevant to my support for her. I think she would have been an excellent senator. I think Schiff played a really tricky game in terms of all the money that he was getting in that Steve Garvey guy, and they like blocked her out of the um, general. But I'm saying that this is another chance for the state to have her in some statewide elected office, and I can't think of anyone else in the field of the announced candidates anyway that I would be more excited for to have in that position than her. Um, but that's why I said it's so sad that these people who play that stuff, they'll go and call someone sexist for not supporting their candidacy or not being excited for them. It's really just a matter of, if you're running for office, any office, could be a House seat, governor, senator, president, whatever. The most important thing you have to be able to do is look at the issues affecting your constituents and being able to articulate what you are going to do to fix them. You know, if Kunalakis, as the lieutenant governor of the last, almost 8 years, if she went around the state promoting anti-poverty programs, trying to fix all these crumbling roads and bridges, trying to address, again, these issues of homelessness and housing cost, right? Standing with unions and all these other people and workers that get screwed over by these companies and their part-time jobs and all their anti-benefit measures. I guarantee you this lady would be getting a whole bunch of support, because lieutenant governor is an elected position that, one, is not that hard to get, because nobody wants it. Nobody wants to be someone's number two. But it's one that gave her a spotlight that a normal person like yours truly, as an elected official, would not have. Which is why it's so pathetic that in being given that spotlight for 8 years, you just cannot, you couldn't use it to do anything that was beneficial to the state, and that's why there was no enthusiasm for a gubernatorial bid. And the same thing will be said of her running for state treasurer. She's only entering that race because she thinks there's a better chance of her winning. But what is she going to do as the treasurer? Like, who is clamoring for Kunalakis to go from the lieutenant governor's chair to the treasury chair? It's like, no, this is just careerism. It's just, let me try to get this other job, see if I can do something while I'm there to raise my profile, and then I'll try to run for governor again in 8 years after whoever wins this time, because it will be a Democrat, gets term limited out. So it's sad that they don't have any ideology. It is literally just me, and that's why they're going to keep failing.